No. Well, happy Cinco de Mayo. That's for that are around the Texas, San Antonio area, Hill Country. We don't need a reason to party. So Fiesta was last week. This week is Cinco de Mayo. Another reason to be off. All right. So happy Friday. Shop Mom's here. I'm here. I think it's all we need.
That's
And
all
if
that's here.
if that's all it ends up being, we may just do a 5 minute live stream and then take off early for Cinco de Mayo. Um,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers-
Your mama's here.
Your mama's here. All right, we were just
Happy
gonna.
Cinco de Mayo.
Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. We were gonna say if no one showed up, we were gonna drink a quick beer and then we were gonna be off for Cinco de Mayo. But
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a quick one anyway because it is Cinco de Mayo.
happy Friday and happy Cinco de Mayo. Terry's off today. He's already let us know. Bob Miller.
Venom's here. Hi, buddy.
I don't have to wait for Terry to say. Here we go.
Oh, no Terry today. Terry wasn't feeling well. I'm sure that he will catch up and watch this later on. But you know, there's a big time difference between us and Germany. And so, yeah, no Terry today.
And
Hi,
Venom says 5 minutes. What? We're gonna play it by ear. Maybe we'll do the same thing. I do have some interesting news. Feliz Cinco de Mayo. Yes, Austin. How are you doing?
This is Soliz Cinco de Mayo.
It should be Soliz Cinco de Mayo. You know, we change everything up to Soliz. Oh, there it is.
As opposed to Feliz, it's Soliz.
Yes. So he's on board. He's on board. So how are you doing, Austin? Aaron, everybody, how you doing? I've had a great day. I'm stinky, sweaty. Y'all can't be very pleased. It's not smell-o-vision around there. Not that bad, but I worked in the dino room this afternoon. I finished up a set of heads this morning, and then I got to play in the dino room because we're not going to come in on Saturday. It's usually when I do my dino stuff. Great day out there. Any day in the dino room, it's a great day. So, what are we? And there's nothing planned for what we're going to talk about. We will talk about beer, Cinco de Mayo. We'll talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, or we'll talk about nothing at all. No, I'll be too quiet. Okay. DR62220. Hello. I don't know. Have we ever seen DR62220?
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Don't
You
always
just don't
read.
pay enough attention to the chat.
I don't pay attention to a lot of things. But
That is true. We've been married a long time.
yeah, and just before the live stream started, Shop Mom put a little something in my ear, and now it's like, think about that all day. Well, for the next hour. So what are we doing? What are we going to talk about? What do we have? Anything? Can't spell. Hey, don't feel like the Lone Ranger there.
Oh my gosh, Venom, that is so funny that you say that. It's a huge pet peeve of mine, and my husband cannot spell. God, I don't even know how he can machine things because he inverts numbers, he inverts letters, and yet he manages.
I invert letters and numbers. Back in the day, there wasn't this thing about dyslexia. You just, you hunker down and get to work. That was it. We didn't have, there wasn't, they called you different things. Anyway, all that being said, I don't have to spell when I'm going to do machine work. I do have to read numbers, but I write everything down.
Okay, so
All right.
we now know who DR6220 is. He's Michael from Humble. And
Oh.
Lawnmower's here. Wade's here. Aloha, Wade.
Aloha, we need to go visit Wade. Okay, so Quick has a question, or there's a quick question from Too White and Nerdy, which we know that's Austin.
Have you used auto, air, and axle in SA? They saved my bacon on some CV boot work. Great owner over there. Nice to have a recommendation.
Well, Auto Air and Axle. I wonder if that's their original name. I haven't. There used to be a different one that was off of Broadway, and then they moved. It was San Antonio Spring and Axle. Auto Air and Axle. No, I have not. But let us know if there's people.
Liked them. He did like them.
People always ask the Shop Mom where to get stuff done at, and
I've often said, I just want to answer the phone. Elaine's referral service.
yes, that's what the main thing is. She just refers people out. It used to be a Thrash Automotive for dry shafts forever and ever and ever and ever in a day. That was the number one place. And of course, eventually people get old and they retire.
Adrian also has a question.
Yes, I'm ready for questions. Adrian, go ahead.
Adrian says, How do you know if your car has an oil cooler? And wouldn't your car run a little on the cold side?
And no, the reason it would have an oil cooler because the oil temperature gets too hot. Generally, it's not going to have an oil cooler on it. Generally, unless it has either a towing package, heavy duty truck, police cars have them. Anything that's industrial or heavy duty would get the, like if you got a towing package, it might come with the oil cooler. So how would you know if you had one? Depending on which vehicle, let me know what vehicle it is. Like Chevrolets, there's an adapter on the filter where the filter goes, and it's actually a spacer. And they unscrew it, put this adapter in, screw the filter back on, and there's two lines that come off of it. So right by the oil filter, and on any other kind of cars, right by where the filter would go, look for two lines. There'll be an out and an in. Those two lines will go down to the radiator. Most coolers are either on the radiator or in front of the radiator, right in front of the, in front of where the cooling would be. So in front of the radiator would be an external cooler. There'd be two lines going to it, and that would be for heavy duty towing. Police cars, performance cars, would have a cooler. But that's how you would know. But right by the filter, there'll be two lines going to the front, a radiator, and going back. The tranny coolers are generally in the radiator, but it depends on what vehicle you're talking about.
Yeah,
All
Austin
right.
says his turbo Volvos all have oil coolers, and he's going to be upgrading the one on his C30.
Yes. Anything is turbocharged. See, anything that would add oil temperature, that's when you need an oil cooler. And you can, like we're on the dyno today, you don't want to put a load on it or to get the max horsepower. If it's not up to operating temperature, that could be bad as well. So sometimes it's like, oh, put an cooler. If it's not warm enough, that would be bad. The oil would be too thick. Up north, you have block heaters to get the temperature up. So being here in Texas, we do everything we can to get rid of heat, but you want to make sure you're up at operating temperature. So, all right.
Blazer 02 LS says, don't forget that stupid block-mounted cooler on the BMWs that like to dump oil down the block.
Yes, and oil coolers, a lot of them, Miatas have them as well too. Oil coolers can lead, I don't want to say they have this problem, but oil coolers could have an internal leak in the oil cooler. And oil cooler adapters aren't really, especially like on Miatas, when they come in with spun connector rods and stuff, every shop and everybody in the world, it's mandatory that you replace all that stuff brand new. Don't even use the old one because it's too difficult to clean an oil cooler. It's too difficult to clean the adapter, the oil cooler. It's just too difficult to get the metal out of there. So if you spun rods, you put a new engine in or get it rebuilt and put your same oil cooler back on. But no one wants to spend all this money on this oil cooler. You really, really, really do not want to use the same oil cooler on an engine that has been damaged. You replace the engine or do work on it, throw the oil cooler away, back flush it. You can do a lot of stuff to try to get stuff out of it, but a lot of times that's gonna bite you in the butt. You're gonna end up hooking everything up, putting some fresh oil into it, and it's gonna bring the metal out of the oil cooler. Also, oil cooler, because it's water to oil, it's not air to air, it's water that's doing the cooling on it. They do combine right next to each other, and they can have an internal leak inside. So if that's the case, you'll get what we know in the industry as a milkshake. A milkshake is when water and oil get mixed together, and then it gets churned, and it turns like a thick milkshake. A lot of times it's in the oil cooler itself, has an internal leak. You can pressure test an oil cooler to find out if you have a bad oil cooler, but cleaning them is very, very, very difficult. So if you ever have that issue, ever heard about it, spend the money and put a new oil cooler on if you have a damaged engine.
So Lawnmower wants to know, do any current vehicles have liquid to oil transmission coolers?
Yes, the liquid to liquid, but all, not say all, me, y'all have been around for a while, I used all, never, so not all, but all automatic cars with the radiator use a liquid to liquid. So the transmission goes up to the radiator. At the bottom of the radiator, there'll be two extra fittings besides your water, water inlet, outlet. There'll be two extra fittings. That's your tranny cooler. And I know in Texas it's different than every other place in the world. I know you've heard it throughout the TV all the time, but there's other differences. We don't like to run. We like to get rid of the oil cooler, the tranny cooler in the radiator because it gets too hot. So in Texas, what we like to do a lot of times is we'll put an air to water or air to oil, air to tranny fluid cooler, and we'll mount it in front of the radiator, and we'll get rid of the ones in the radiator, and we'll take them out to air to tranny cooling. That's okay here. I would not recommend that other places because very good point here is that it's actually a tranny heater. So up north when it's really, really cold, that tranny fluid is going through the radiator and actually to heat the tranny fluid up. So bypassing any kind of tranny coolers out of the radiator. Here we don't do that because we don't want the radiator water 210 degrees to heat up our transmission. So it doesn't get very cold here. If it gets cold here, it's for an hour, a day or two. It doesn't get really cold. Okay, up north you wouldn't want to bypass it and put it up in the front because you actually want to use your engine temperature to heat up your transmission. So good question though.
So there's also a question about cleaning fuel injectors.
Yes.
What can the average person, this is from Michael, who we now know as DR62220. What can the average person do to clean fuel injectors? Do the additives do any good, or do the shops help you out?
Great question. We'll talk about fuel for a little while. The injector did not get clogged in 5 minutes. It didn't get clogged in a day, in a week. Okay, so that you got to get that mentality on there. It took a long time to slowly clog it. So are you going to buy something, magic in a can, that you're going to put in and your injectors are going to be clean? No. The reason being is that it would have to be, when you go to a shop and you pay for their injector service cleaner, what they do is they take the fuel lines off and they're running through a machine with a concentrated injector cleaner. So it's not running through the motor, it's running through the injectors. Okay, they pulsate the injectors. When you send a set of injectors out to a shop with the machine, they're also going to run a concentrated cleaner through it, and they're going to pulse it. They're going to sonic clean them as well. If you were to put something that strong in your fuel system, you would damage your fuel system. So it's a time release formula, let's say. It's like those little pills you take and it's a time release. The injector cleaner you get, which you want to get a good, Amsoil makes an excellent one. Lucas makes an excellent one. There's more people that make excellent injector cleaners. But think about it this way. You put it into your fuel system. It can only be so strong because you can't ruin the O-rings and everything else in your fuel system. So it's going to take about 500 miles to clean your injectors. It didn't get clogged in a minute or 2 minutes, so putting this magic stuff in the bottle and you're going to be, oh, I put it in 2 hours ago, why are my injectors cleaned? It's not going to work that way. If your injectors are really, really clogged, it may take 5 or 6 or 7 of those bottles in. Put one in, go to a tank. A long drive is good. Injector cleaners work really good when you're taking a vacation, a trip, a long drive, because they're pulsating for a long time, heat. And that injector cleaner, which is only a diluted injector cleaner, can start working and it's going to slowly clean your injectors. So 2 or 3 times, sometimes 5 times, but you can't just put 5 bottles in. You got to just, every tank, 1 bottle, every tank, and it may take a while. So that's why I say it's a good thing to add one of those periodically every 3 months in your fuel system to keep those injectors clean. If they're really bad, what happens when you have a clogged injector? The injector pinnacle, the end of the injector has micro little holes in it, and there's a needle inside that when the electricity goes to the injector, it lifts it up and fuel comes out. It's high pressure, generally about 45 pounds, it could be 50 pounds, it depends on the vehicle. That higher pressure, when the needle lifts up through these micro little holes, puts out a fine mist of fuel atomization. That's when it's working awesome, you're getting great gas mileage. When they start to get clogged, instead of putting out a fine mist of fuel, they put out and they start to dribble, spray and dribble. I built my injector cleaner, which you can build one yourself. Now you can buy one on eBay. The little injector cleaners, go for it. I bought a pulsator from Matco, I believe it was. All tool trucks have them. It's a little box. 2 leads go to a battery, and the other lead, 2 wires, I just soldered in the plug to a GM plug, popped it into my injector, turned it on, and you can pulsate the injector. A lot of YouTube videos out there are guys using 9-volt batteries and all kinds of stuff. So you can make all kinds of different ways to pulsate the injector. The one I bought from Matco Tools or whatever, it had 2 different switches, continuous, pulse. It had all these different settings, and I could pulse the injector. I got a beaker. I got a holder to hold the injector. I got a beaker, put my injector in there, stopwatch, turned it on, milliseconds, filled up that beaker of fuel, and did every injector. Now I actually had a reference point. A machine has 8 beakers, 8 injectors, 8 pulsators, and you can do them all at one time. And then you can literally see in it how much fuel they're flowing. When you send a set out, they flow them, they test them, and then they reflow them afterwards, and you get a balanced set. I would just do a whole bunch of injectors till I got 8 that I liked that flowed pretty even to the same amount. Not very scientific, but it worked. So you can do it yourself. I seen guys, YouTube is an excellent place. We're here at YouTube right now with carb cleaner, the little piece of hose to their injector, pulsated with a 9-volt battery. I don't know what they were, and then they cleaned them with just carb cleaner running through there. I have a little sonic cleaner. Now, when I bought mine, it was quite expensive. You can buy, once again, eBay, little sonic cleaners, man, for $99. You get little testers. You can make your own little fuel lab yourself at home. I just, like I said, I just do it myself. I would just do it myself. But you can send them out now and get them flowed, tested. Back then, it was RC Engineering. The guy used to do drag bikes with big engines, and you could send him injectors out, and he would flow them, test them, or he would sell you a set of a balanced set of 8 or 6 or 5 or however many. All right.
There was actually a couple of other questions.
But I went too far on injector.
Yes.
Sorry.
And we know that you like to do that. Adrian had a question that's probably a little bit too specific for this live stream, although you can always send an email, Adrian. He's got another question. Can you fix worn out gears with stick weld beads on top of each other, grind them down into shape, and reuse it?
Well, you've watched that YouTube video. Those guys in India, boy, they don't throw gears away. Have you've seen that video? I know you've seen the video. You can do a lot of things that everybody's going to tell you you can't. And I use this reference. When me and my son are at home, I do a lot of stuff that I would not do here at the shop. It's professional. You're not going to cross certain paths that way. But when we're at home working on a go-kart, something that's ours, and I have a chipped tooth more than once, and did this, I'll say I've done here and at my mother's shop, and I've done for other people, fixed a ring gear tooth off a ring gear. Look, if you got a ring gear that has a flex plate ring gear on an automatic that has a couple of chipped teeth on it, order another one. But if you're doing a Boss 429 Mustang, and this is the original flywheel, 2 teeth are gone off of it, everything is fine. Have I TIG welded the teeth, put it on a vise, and work perfectly? Many of them. So I've replaced many teeth on ring gears, on exotic stuff that you just can't get it. You can get a $40 ring gear, knock it off, put another ring gear on, be done. But there's certain items that sometimes the ring gear is part of the flywheel. So have I done many ring gears, even here, and even for customers. But at home, even stuff that's not a ring gear. So something on a go-kart or whatever. So yes, just welded. The guy I'm referring to in YouTube video, which, he drilled holes and tapped them and put screws in them in where the teeth were before he started welding. Yes, have at it.
V-Twin Addicted. Danny, I need a suggestion on what cam upgrade for a Vortec 305. Just, he wants to hear a thump at idle, and he's going to be sticking with the roller.
Awesome. The roller's the only way to go. Really, you're going to pay for it anyway. You're going to pay for it today, tomorrow, the next day, but you're going to pay for it anyway. You might as well pay for it now. Put a roller in, put any oil you want, extend. And in other words, smart move on the roller. You might be. Cam choices are something that you really need a lot more info. You can give out a cam choice because then no one cares. They'll give out a cam choice because what the heck, it ain't my cam. It didn't work for you. Oops. Let's try this one, right? Okay. Comp knew that there I go again, everybody. Once again, not everybody, but a lot of people wrong cam choice because they want to hear that thump. They want to hear that pro stock sound, So they way overcam. What happens is way too much overlap, bleeding way too much cylinder pressure. It's just not a easy motor to tune, but they didn't give it rat patootie. They wanted to hear it like the baddest motor that there was. So Comp said, you know what? We're going to design a cam called the Thumper. They even updated it to the Mother Thumper. Okay? And it's for exactly that exact reason. You want to hear a pro stock sound, but yet I don't want to kill the motor because it ain't going to run with the darn. The guy in the Honda's going to blow you away. I mean, well, Honda might blow you away anyway, but the guy in the Toyota's going to blow you away, because it kills any kind of, don't put a big cam like that and put a motor in a dyno because you're going to be crying what it actually does to your power. A stock cam would have been better. So they came up with a cam grind that holds the exhaust valve open a little bit longer and a little more duration to dump some raw fuel in the pipes. So when it fires off just before the valve's about to close, bam, and you get some of that burn in the pipes. It sounds like a pro stock. It sounds like you're at one of these cackle fests. Boom, 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 real loud. But they designed it to where it's not going to affect the motor as much as what everybody was doing. So, and at first I thought, nope, and we had a customer wanted a big block, and I want this, and I'm like, dude, let me pick the right cam out. You want the sound, but you're going to kill your motor. And one of my co-workers at my mom's shop says, I've been reading about this Mother Thumper. Let's do it. It's made, and reading a little bit about it. I talked to the customer and said, look, here's what the writing is on it and everything else. I think this is a cam made for exactly what you want. I don't recommend it. Robbie does. Everybody seems to think that, but you make the decision. He says, you know what? I'm going to listen to Robbie because, hey, in his mind, like my mom says, give them what they want because they're going to go get it somewhere else. I was trying to talk him to the kind of cams that I'm generally too small in the cams, but I make more power, but it doesn't matter, So he says, you're free and clear. I'm going to go with the cam, that Thumper. Let's do it, that Thumper in there. Boy, we put that Thumper in that. Man, he was right. I got to find some videos for it. We ran it. I'm sold on it a little bit. Sounds like a pro stock big block with 13-1 compression, and it was a 10-1 compression, single 4-barrel motor. And I was really impressed. It didn't kill the engine. It just, man, I was like, it's kind of acting like the cam that I was going to pick, but it sounds like a pro stock cam. So you might be in the realm of look up the Thumper. I believe Comp still has this. You can go to their site. This is not a Cam's advertisement, but you can go to their site, and they used to have it where you could pick the cam and then hit the button, and you could listen to that cam choice. So you could listen to 5 different cam choices and hear the way they sound. Put it on your surround sound. You don't want to put it on your phone. But
okay. I've got one. I just have to read this one because
yes.
It's really something. Cesar Barbosa says, I'm in training, but someone said that a cast exhaust manifold couldn't be soldered, so I tried to prove them wrong, and 8 years till today, it's still strong.
I want to high five you.
Right? Cesar, that's awesome. That's absolutely great. Superman is here. Happy Cinco de Mayo, as we say to everyone. Mm-hmm. And Joe Mama has...
Hey, Joe Mama. My mom's here.
No, actually your mom. Jim Cole's here.
Jim, is that you, Jim, or is that my mom?
Okay, well, we saw Amelia Webb. For anybody who doesn't know,
that's my mom, Amelia Webb. Okay.
And she said she made great son with God's help, and that kind of sounds like your mom.
Well, maybe it is my mom.
And then Jim Cole, when you were talking about the ring gear, said he has done that, and that may be true as well. Dave Johnson is doing better, so we're
Good
all
to see
happy about that.
Good to see you in the room. Yes. Well, awesome. So, I should read this more often. I should read
Yes,
some of these.
well, yeah, it's kind of
hard
hard.
to-
Hi, Sean Adams. Sean Adams is here. Aaron Shaw is here as well. And it's really nice to see all the OGs from our Automotive Book Club.
Yep.
Which I have to tell you guys, we miss Automotive Book Club. Faye's schedule doesn't really allow us to plan that anymore. But we've been talking about this, and maybe what we'll do is kind of go to not such a demanding schedule because it's getting to summertime and people have other stuff to do. Maybe we'll schedule once a month, maybe every other week kind of live stream. And let's get back into Automotive Book Club.
That Automotive Book was my favorite. Which when we started, I just was going to do one book,
Hey,
and that
Tom's
was
here.
huh?
Tom is here.
Yes, Tom. I saw that Tom is here. Happy Cinco de Mayo, Tom. Maybe we'll barbecue this weekend.
Yeah, Tom.
And that's some of the interesting news. We kind of, that Jim passed. We talked about Jim, and we're going to have a cruise night in Jim's passing. Me and Jim used to do cigars and Coronas on Friday, and then the virus hit, Corona, and all this stuff happened, so we couldn't get together anymore. We started doing the live streams with Faye because we couldn't get together anymore, and it was kind of the opportunity for us to everybody's hunkered down and needs to get out, and it worked out awesome. We kept doing it. I feel bad, and because it took over Friday, 3:00 is when Jim would pull up. And that's when we would close and have our cigar beer 3 to 5. And at first, we couldn't do it because nobody could get together anyway. So that was okay. We didn't want to get Jim sick. But all that passed, and I could have taken the last year to spend with Jim, having our cigars and beer. So I feel like, love y'all. I don't want to say I chose y'all over Jim. I didn't do that. It just happened. But do I feel like, man, I could have, and we spent a lot of time. Jim was here. What happened is that not Jim, which he was here almost all the time anyway, is lost a lot of productivity in the shop when Jim would come in because we'd work on either his project or just storytelling, cigars, beers. I don't regret a darn thing about that at all because I spent every time that I could have with Jim. Productivity did not do as well, but Jim, I don't miss that at all. So
at the end of your life, people will not be thinking about the things that you did. They'll be thinking about the times that you spent with them.
Yes.
You leave nothing behind but love.
And that being said, we were going to announce we're going to take a little break. We're going to see how y'all feel about this. Take a little break, and what I have, best way to put this, I have Lewis Brooks would understand. I have 2-3 engines here that Jim was very much a part of. Jim was part of the compressed air engine. Jim was part of the polished Hemi engine. Jim was here for 10 years with us. When we opened up, we met Jim. So we've been here for 10 years. So what I want to do is I want to just stop, get grounded again, get back to my roots, and finish these up without starting anything else, without doing anything else. So that's kind of was with the announcement. Kind of we're going to take a little hiatus, but we're going to see how you feel. Maybe we'll still do live stream, but most definitely in the last little bit, I haven't even turned on the Canon camera. They haven't done any YouTube videos at all. I film stuff with Lakespeed. Junior Lakespeed likes to come in. We do some collaboration videos. I filmed those. When was it? February. And I'm still editing those videos which are on cylinder honing, which is very important. That honing without an $85,000 hone. We hone on our hone, and Lake brings us the sophisticated equipment in to test, and we pass the test. But what we're trying to do is put data. I hone by feel, and Lake Speed and this new, software hones by numbers. Can't hone by numbers. You got to hone by feel. So we're actually, he came in. We spent I don't know how much time and combining the two. Try to do by the numbers. It didn't work out so well. I'm like, you can't do that. Do this, and we're going to get to the achieved. Put a junk motor up on the thing. Did it by the numbers. I said, it ain't going to work. Sure enough, it didn't work. Hone, tested. Yes, the hone was beautiful. The only problem is, I'm now 2,000s bigger than what I was. Because I knew I had to stop sooner. If you want to be here, you can't stop here. You got to stop here and then work your way to here. No, let's go to here, and then we're going to have this achievement that we're going to... No, it doesn't that $85,000 hone. It doesn't in a lab. So we really... I will say this about Total Seal Piston Rings. Spends the time, the money, the effort, and it's not just to sell parts. They really want to make the best piston ring. But now they do make the best piston ring. Why would they want to go out and help machinists up their game? I think it's amazing for a company this is 2023. And yes, there's still a company that puts boots on the ground, spends time at who am I? So to travel down here, we're learning together, so awesome. So that video is what I'm working on. That's a technical video, and I've been working on that, but I've been so busy I can't even edit. So that's the last editing video that I'm doing now. I'm not even shooting any more videos. I got 1 million hours of videos on Lewis Brooks motor. I'm not complaining. So we're going to take a little break, and Lewis will probably be happy because my motor will be done very, very soon.
Okay.
So
I want to point out
yes.
that Amelia Webb says that Danny Webb says it's mostly due to God's help. So I'm going to bet that is your mom.
So this is my mom. So everybody say hi to my mom. That's
Amelia
Webb.
Yeah. Best mother-in-law in the world, folks.
Best mom in the world. So hopefully everybody will give my mom a good... I'm going to give myself a thumbs up on that one.
Okay.
I'm going to give myself a thumbs up because my mom's in the room.
Adrian has a question.
Yes, Adrian.
I'm curious. What do you think separates a mechanic from a so-called backyard mechanic? Venom has an answer, only a piece of paper.
I was about to say, about $100,000 in tools because that badass mechanic has Snap-ons and the guy at home has Craftsman. But that was just a joke. Hold on.
Yeah, we've got a lot of hi moms going on. That's awesome. Glad you guys recognize that Amelia is the reason why we're here.
Yeah, well, I would not. Not only would I not be here because I probably would be existing, but I wouldn't have the essence of I cannot think technical. I cannot think, to me is I cannot even, that's who I am. But I grew up, we got to find the picture. I think my mom still has it. She thinks we have it. She has it, but we're going to find this picture. We can't recreate it, but I'm probably less than 6 months old. I'm in a diaper, and I'm teething on an exhaust gasket. Asbestos, anybody? And like my mom says, you turned out okay, didn't you? So I literally, my playground was the auto parts machine shop, but when I was that little, my playground was the auto parts office. My mom would take me to work, and then that was my, that was where, so in other words, an auto parts, the cigars, the smell of cigars, that brings back Les Bennett, the first auto parts that my mom worked for as a youngster. My mom got started in the auto parts business in '63. I was born in '62. So,
Venom says he now knows what's wrong with you.
Now, yes. Well, that's one of the things that is wrong with me.
And of course, Wade says we wouldn't be here if Danny wasn't using an exhaust gasket as a teething ring, and that's true.
Like I said, she says, "Well, it turned out pretty good." So, in so many different realms, I guess, in just in different things. So I could turn the camera around to the office, and behind a shop mom's desk is a beautiful oil painting that my mom painted. So,
they're a very talented and creative family. They really are.
all my oil paintings got sold when I was a kid. So
I am one's here. Good to see ya.
one is here,
Yes,
one room,
yes,
one more.
One is here. That's room for one more.
Room for one more. I like that.
Yes.
Okay, so and Jim Cole is here also, I guess. Jim is here.
Yeah.
Jim got it is on his own. So I'd have to. There's a lot of things that I'd have to do to pack up, and maybe we do a live stream at my mom's shop, do a walkthrough, visit with the guys in the shop.
I can just tell all of y'all, if you saw Danny's mother on the street, you would know that is Danny's mother because he looks just like his mom.
When we go out, we travel. They think we're brother and sister. That's something. But anyway, so I don't know what else. It's talking enough about my mom. I don't know.
I don't know.
We can't talk enough about my mom.
But
The North American North American Aoudad record?
Yes.
You know what an Aoudad is? It's a humongous animal. The North American Aoudad record was held by my mom. If you know about the Boone and Crockett's, if you know about shooting and hunting, my mom has been in several books in the realm of hunting and shooting. Danny Webb as well has been in books, and so they're in the top of their field. Danny Webb, my stepdad, actually my dad, he'll take down the world champion skeet shooter because I do it as a hobby, and actually he shoots quite well. He was the track champion in San Antonio. When you have that eye-to-hand coordination of shooting, instantly in a car was instantly the first year ever track champion. So don't the talent goes deep. So oil painting is really I was doing that I started doing valve jobs at 7, 8, 9 years old, cutting valves, buffing valves, but I was doing oil paintings before that. So I'll have to show you some pictures of some of the oil paintings that I did mostly animal or horses and landscapes. Could never do people, but my granddaughter Lily can do faces like amazing.
Yeah, Lily says she gets her artistic ability from Grandpa. Nothing from me.
And Frank says, I would love to hear about your association with Mission Auto Parts. Well,
that's for another day.
It's for another day, but it goes pretty deep because that's my mom's place. So it's an association. We took, oh golly, it's just, we need to we'll do a special, if everybody wants to do that, maybe a shop tour at a Mission shop tour, John Hamilton, Tom Hamilton. If you know the Hamiltons, JBA headers out of California, John used to do all of their engine builds and stuff for them. John's been working for my mom for many years and sold all his equipment to JBA headers out of California when he went to go work for mom. The difference is my mom is very inclusive. What that means is that she appreciates talent as opposed to just come work. So if you go pull up to Mission Auto Parts, it says Mission Auto Parts, John Hamilton Balancing. John Hamilton was an engine builder and balancer, his own business for many years. Tom, also a talented, one of the Hamilton brothers, they're twins, engine builder, welder, fabricator, started working for my parents first, and then tells John, hey, this is a good gig. You need to come on. They appreciate you. You can be you. You're not squashed down in the back. And then John was self-employed. John had his own business, like I said, sold everything, JBA headers, went to go work for my mom. He's got his own area. Tom has his own area. Very unique shop that has very talented people. been there for many, many years. Like I said, you walk up to the building and it says, you would think Mission Auto Parts, John Hamilton Engine Balancing. John works for my mom, but he got to keep his identity. He got to keep his identity. It's custom. So that's the neat thing about Mission Auto Parts is there's a lot of talent there, and you can be talented there.
Okay, so
Yes.
Robert's here. Our son is here.
Yep.
Lily's father, who says she doesn't get the talent from him either, which is one of those things. But I wanted to read Blazer's comment. After 40 plus years wrenching for a living, the thing that makes a difference to me is skill level. I've known folks who wallpaper their walls with certificates that I wouldn't trust to change the oil.
Very good. Certificates don't matter anything. We say this when we were doing this stuff with Fayetteville, but the ASC certification, awesome. An ASC certification, don't get me wrong, opens the right doors for you. Does not make you a mechanic. In fact, more people that I see with those patches and don't have a clue what's going on. So the patches, the certification do not make you a mechanic. I do encourage you, if you're an up-and-coming mechanic, it does open the doors. I would never, for a while there, I like to open my horizon, so I'm kind of self-taught besides what my uncle taught me. But it was never trained anywhere, so I like to go and take different tests, do different things. Well, anyway, I would not have been able to go to Gun Oldsmobile without an ASC certification, because they only hire ASC certified techs. So there's one of those things is you can't even get in the door without this certification. But the certification is like, but this don't make me nothing.
Like Wade says, it means you can pass a test.
Yes, it means you can pass a test, and I'm terrible at passing tests. And my very first certification, I got a bunch of them up on the wall, was a Cummings certification. I wanted to get to the thing. My dad was going to a Cummings certification. Cummings back in the day had a thing that if you were an old school mechanic on big Cummings trucks, they were trying to get all the techs in the country certified to Cummings certified. And to the point that you couldn't even go to the parts department and buy at a better price in the parts unless you had this Cummings certification. So how do you there's mechanics all over the country working on Peterbilts that aren't certified. So they started this program. It was quite expensive. It was only a 3-day, I believe 2 days, a 3-day course. They weren't teaching you a darn thing. They were teaching you how to take a test. This was a certification for existing mechanics that have been doing it for 20 years. VegPack had a big fleet of mechanics, but you got to get somebody certified there, So my dad was going to get certified. And it's 2 days to spend that, whatever. It was expensive because you got all the books. You got all the books. You got, it was a heavy class, but it went really fast. It was, like a couple of days. I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 days. But you went very, very fast. You were in the transmissions. You were in engines. They weren't teaching you a darn thing. They were teaching you how to get the manual, how to look up the part numbers, Anyway, my mom said, let's send Danny, me, pay. You had to have a referral from the garage or shop you were working at. My dad was going anyway. The hotel room was already paid. He was going. My mom, Arnell, the business pays to send me with my dad and pay the certifications, right? I sat in the class with my dad. I was a young kid. I don't know how old I was. And I'm coming certified. So the difference is, do you know what you're doing, or you know how to pass a test? Well, I knew what I was doing even as a kid. I knew what I was doing. It's just common sense kind of stuff. After that, ASC started doing some testing, and they said, we're going to do some testing for machinists. 3 tests: cylinder head, cylinder block, and then master machinist. If you pass the cylinder head one, the cylinder block one, the third one was an engine assembler, and then the 4th was the master. So I fortunately had a mother that was very, very supportive in when I got stuff for birthday present. You've heard the story of I wanted a bicycle and I got a shoe shine box. If you haven't heard the story, I will have to tell it. It was a true story. And my mom says, with that shoe shine box, you can get any bicycle you want. I thought it was the cruelest thing in the world. Once again, turned out pretty good, didn't you? I had a speech impediment. You put a kid with a speech impediment
nobody would believe that today.
In front of an auto part, in front of a grocery store, and every gentleman that comes out, you ask him for a shoe shine, and it takes me, 5 minutes to ask, would you like a shoe shine? That's how bad it was. Well, I guess, it does get your shyness away. Real cruel at the time as a kid, but obviously tough love is the way that my mom taught. Well, anyway, very supportive. For a birthday present, I don't get toys, but I got a Binks #7 spray gun. I was painting cars as a young, I was still in high school painting cars with the best spray gun that money could buy, but I had to work for it. But anyway, I go and take the ASC test for the machinist test. My certifications are up there. The very first round of testing, you may have heard this with Faye, they actually discontinued the automotive testing. Everybody got their money back because I wrote notes on the test. When they ask, technician A, a cylinder head is cracked, what do you do? Technician A, throw it away, buy a new one, blah, blah. And I'm like, first of all, you didn't tell me, is this an aluminum head or a cast iron head? You just said a cylinder head. So then I'm going to give you the procedures how to repair both of them. How to take. So I made more notes and more notes and more notes. Boom, get a notification. The test is not valid. Everybody gets their money back, but we encourage you to come back and retest when the new testing comes out. When the new testing comes out, I was really pleased that a lot of technician A says an aluminum cylinder head is, so now they're getting a little more in depth. I can answer that question. So anyway, needless to say, I passed all those. I'm a master machinist, but I'm here. I'm signing up for these tests. How long do we have? We have this much. How many tests can I take? My mom was very supportive and paid. I was a kid. I paid for a lot of these ASC tests that had nothing to do with what we did. Nobody in our field besides Chief, which just was the master of everything, was a mechanic. My dad, but he was really a machinist for many, many years. But it ain't like I grew up with a mechanic working under the hood. Besides with Chief, we would always work on cars. So I went ahead and took the ASC test. Engine, driveline, transmission, rear end, diagnostics. I have a bunch of ASC tests. So never, besides what my uncle and my dad and whatever I learned, I just used common sense. And I took these tests and then I passed them. So, but anyway, that all being said, what does Lewis say about a 260 cam?
Oh, he was answering, one had a question earlier, but it's a little bit, do you have a 305 recipe for a bulletproof free revving bottom end? I can't read that. I hurt my knee. I'm sorry, you guys.
Oh, you turn around, hit your knee on the desk. Oh, all right. Well,
but Lewis answered him, so.
Thank you, Lewis. Now, here's the deal. A 305, it's the same.
David Johnson.
What did you?
I said I'm in solidarity with David Johnson.
Oh, you're feeling David Johnson's pain? A 305 is a 350. It's the same crankshaft. It's the same connecting rods. It's the same block besides the bore. The bore is smaller on a 305. It's not the 4-inch bore. It's a smaller bore. But the oil pan, the oil pump, the crankshaft, same casting number, the same crankshaft, same connector. So it is bulletproof. So the 305 isn't a weak animal. Only thing it is a small bore. It's a small bore, and then of course the cylinder head. If you have the HO 305, it's high compression, big valves. But so bulletproof 305. If you were close by, I would gift you a Marine 305 if you were close by. But so 305 is awesome. I've just found that you're carrying the same weight as a 350, but you're not making as much horsepower because of the bore size. So you have a longer stroke because that's the same stroke as the 350, the 3.480, same stroke, just a smaller bore. I've done so much to a 305 just to, it's not one of those. It's not like an LS. Boy, you just put a cam in LS and it comes to life. A 305 just is just a tough animal. The reason being, if I'm going to carry that weight, I want more bang for that buck. It's the weight that we're going to start thinking of. If I'm going to move a vehicle, I can give it more horsepower, or I can make it lighter. Making it lighter is going to give you the same effect as more horsepower. See, so if I'm carrying the weight, of that motor, I want the biggest cubic inch that weight has. Because if I made that one a 400 small block, it's the same weight. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of, if I'm going to go to a 305 cubic inch, then I'd rather have a V6 at 305 cubic inch. You know what I mean? So I kind of, in my experiences, kind of is that in it, I've been bit in the butt, and there's no substitution for nitrous. There's no substitution for cubic inches. Nitrous. There's always a new pun.
So one is up in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He says it's 28-hour drive. He'll see you Sunday.
Oh, for the 305, I got a Marine 305, real low miles. Earlier model 305 was our personal boat, and it was weird because just got it running and it wasn't going fast enough. Me and shop mom, Abe and his wife were in there during the week. We're at the lake. I just got it for the maiden run, and the cables that go forward and reverse, I had them adjusted wrong. So I had throttle backwards like crazy. I mean, put water in the back of the boat. But forward, we'd go about, 25, 30 miles an hour, which the girls were like, it's fine. It's fast. It's like a Tuesday during the week in Canyon Lake. Leave it alone. It was the maiden voyage. I just done an out drive on it. I told, hey, shut it off here. Shut it off. I want to lift up the back, take a screwdriver. I'm going to move those cables. Went to shut it off, water came in off the back. I moved the cables. We went to go start it. It hydraulic. So water came in the manifold. Water came in and got into the engine. And we were out there floating for hours on a weekday. Waiting for somebody. Please, somebody drive by. Finally, we got somebody, like two people out of Canyon Lake during the week. But anyway, parked it at home. Never messed with it again. I should have pulled the spark plugs out, turned it over, and pumped the water out. I never even did that. I was done with it. Years later, it's gone. I pulled the motor out, the outdrive, and everything. So it has water in the cylinders.
Yeah, but you won't get rid of that stupid trailer, will you?
Yeah, I kept the trailer. The boat is at Liz's. I've done this before. Dug a hole, dropped the boat in there, gutted everything out, cleaned it all really good for fish. Make sure the back part of it, fiberglass the back part of it, took the windshield off, dug a hole, stuck the boat in it, poured dirt up around it, put rocks around it. You can't tell it's a boat. It narrows out in the front, but you can't tell because there's rocks all the way around it. It's a nice fish pond. It's a nice pond. So the motor and outdrive came to the house, and it just sat there. And I'm now cleaning the shop up because I'm throwing bigger slab. I'm going to enlarge the shop. I'm going to move the dyno home. Anyway, it's in there. I'm ready to just move on with it. I thought about taking it apart, keeping the crank, keeping the rods because it's real low miles. I started pulling it apart like, man, I ruined a good motor. But it could be bored 30 over. I mean, I'm sure it's rusted. Big deal. You're going to bore it and put pistons anyway. The connecting rods and the rods, everything on this motor was like, I pulled the distributor out and it's like a brand new distributor. I'm like, so I've been pulling everything off of it to keep all the subcomponents. It'd make a great street rod. I kept the wiring harness, kept the distributor, kept the alternator, kept the brackets. I'm going to keep all that for a street rod. But the block, I mean, it needs to go. It needs to go. Boat equals hole in the water to throw away money. Yes. You know, the best two times of a boat, the day you buy it and the day you sell it.
And that's the truth.
Ain't that to tell? You don't need a boat. I'm going to end it. I don't know if we're going to end the live stream or not, but I'm going to end it with the good thing. You don't need a boat. You need a friend with a boat. It's just like a trailer. You don't need a trailer. You need a friend with a trailer.
You don't need a lift.
You don't need a lift. You need a friend with a lift. Done. Don't, all you need is a friend with a boat. You provide the beer or food. When you're done, you get out of the boat, and he has the headaches. The same with the car lift. You don't need to put one in your shop. Actually, you should have one, but you need a friend with one. If you get any of these, a boat, a trailer, or a lift, you're going to have plenty of friends. So if you're out there and you don't have any friends, get you a boat, a lift, and a trailer.
You'll have friends.
You're done.
You'll find them. Okay, it is time to wrap it up. I know it's a little early. Folks, peace and assembly grease. This has been fun. We're really happy to spend time with y'all, but it is Cinco de Mayo.
And what is everybody thinking about? Just once a month, or what? What is everybody
Well, you know that we do have an email that, or you can call, leave a voicemail. That's probably a better idea, folks. 830-308-8590. Leave me your thoughts, and I'll be happy to reply to everybody. Just want to know what the group thinks, because this only works because we are a group.
Oh. All right, so there you go. It's up to y'all. Let Shop Mom know. She tells me what to do, and I have no problem with that at all. Slowly ramp. What is this? Slowly ramp down the live streams. Peace and assembly. There we go. I didn't want to just cut off everybody because, like I said,
But it is
Jim Cole later.
assembly
Thanks for
stuff.
being here. Mom, thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks for being here. Peace and assembly grease. Tom, Bob, everybody. I said
David,
everybody.
Wade,
David,
Ron.
Wade, Austin, everybody.
One. Austin left already. Had to go.
Okay,
Lewis
Lawnmower,
Brooks.
Lewis Brooks,
Blazer.
One, everybody.
yeah,
Peace
yeah.
and assembly grease. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out. And I guess we're gonna see you next Friday to tell you what we're doing. I don't know. Well, let Shop Mom know.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.